we sort of just hit 10% membership of like the UK workforce, which is in the UK is a huge milestone for a union, because that's the point where you can apply for statutory recognition, and we were all sort of excited about that, and then suddenly we we found ourselves being called for a quick chat with HR, and then 5 minutes later we're out of the building.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the first episode of Beyond the Pixels, a new podcast here on Second Wind, hosted by me, Nick Calandra, the editor-in-chief of Second Wind. If you haven't listened to me before or haven't heard me before, I was also the former editor-in-chief of The Escapist, and I've been covering games since 2009, so I'm entering my 16th, 17th year of doing this at this point. It's been a long time. So for this first episode of Beyond the Pixels, I spoke with Jamie Trimmer and Sarah Blackburn. They were two of the former developers that were fired by Rockstar over their alleged union-busting efforts. If you haven't heard the context behind this story, essentially a group of Rockstar developers were in a Discord server that was allegedly sharing company secrets or discussing work-related topics, I guess. People Make Games put out a really good video that kind of showcased what was in that Discord, and it's not really much, but either way, Rockstar decided to fire them almost pretty much without notice, and Sarah and Jamie combined had 27 years of work experience at Rockstar, and they were kind of let go just very coldly, and they're hoping to get their jobs back. So they actually reached out to me, and I brought them on to kind of talk about what it was like working at Rockstar and what is going on with unions in the UK and why they think they were fired, because they really don't know yet, because that's being litigated. So don't expect too many like deep details on what's going on, but I hope this episode kind of gives you a little bit of background on the people that were affected by this, because I think some of the coverage has really just been very broad about it. So I hope giving Sarah and Jamie the chance to really tell their story. Let's just get right into it. All right. Well, welcome Sarah and Jamie to what will end up being the very first episode of Beyond the Pixels, my new podcast series that I'm working on. I was quite surprised to see your email in my inbox, because Rockstar is never reaching out to me about anything. Unfortunately, I wish it was for better circumstances. So the general story of why Sarah and Jamie are on today is because Rockstar recently fired you guys for what is allegedly union busting, and 34 of you were let go, correct?
Yeah, that's right. There was 31 of us in the UK and 3 in Toronto.
So I guess to give people a little bit of background on you guys and Rockstar, if you can just kind of introduce yourselves a little bit and what you worked on at Rockstar, how long you worked there.
Yeah, so I joined Rockstar back in 2007. Started on GTA 4 as a QA tester, and I sort of worked on pretty much everything since then. And I made my way into the design department, which is where I was until a few weeks ago.
What was your official title?
I was a content designer.
Okay, and Sarah?
So I worked there for, it would have been 9 years and about 2 weeks. I started in QA again in 2016, working on GTA 5. Red Dead was my first big kind of launch with it. And then I think about 5 years ago, I moved up to also design as a production coordinator for the game data team.
Okay, so the one question I'm sure everybody's wondering is, what's it like to work at Rockstar?
I've had quite a good career. I really enjoyed what I was doing. I think sort of starting in QA gave me a good basis to start from, and then going into design, I got to actually start sort of putting some of my ideas into practice, and it's just working with such amazingly talented people, there's a real sort of good spirit in the studio amongst all the devs.
Yeah, similar thing. I think the people that I've worked with, they're one of the best bits about working at at Rockstar and pretty much any gaming company. I've worked with some people that have become like my best friends. I've worked on Red Dead is one of my all-time favorite games. And to see my name in the credits, I still cry a little bit at it because it's like that disbelief. That's how proud and good it felt working there for me.
So, like, you know, Rockstar is known for almost, you know, perfection. These games that are supposed to move the industry forward, and just, you know, you guys spend so long working on these projects. Like, what's the kind of pressure for you working on games like that?
I mean, it varies sort of depending on the point in the project, really. It can get quite intense, but yeah, I mean, for the most part, it's just, you know, sort of your normal like sort of 9 to 5 kind of thing, and then yeah, towards shipping, you might need to put in a bit extra.
It definitely depends on like your team as well. I remember back in QA on the Red Dead days, it was a little bit stressful. It's a massive title coming out. It's something that everyone is so excited for, that we were so excited for. And there's a real sense of, for most of us, I think anyway, camaraderie. You know, especially if you've been through it once, you know what we're in for. It's the quote of like, oh, here we go again, you know. Everyone kind of bands together with it. Yeah,
and I think a lot of, like, it depends, like say, this sort of depends on the team, and like different teams have different busy periods and stuff. Like, you know, QA will be sort of much more like involved, like when you get really close to shipping the game, whereas like, you know, the art team might be like doing quite a lot sort of at the start of the project when they're getting the world set up and everything. So yeah.
Have you guys worked at other studios before Rockstar?
I haven't, no.
Me neither.
Wow, so your entire career was at Rockstar?
Yep.
Okay, do you guys just join like right out of college, or how'd you get involved with Rockstar?
It was kind of an accident, really, in a way. I'd applied through like an agency for a game testing job, and I went sort of looking for like, okay, what studios are there in my area, because it didn't actually say where the job was going to be. So I obviously stumbled across Rockstar being the biggest one. Saw that like on their website they said that like they only take direct applications. So I was like, oh well, okay, it's not them, but they have roles open. So I applied and I got the job.
That's amazing. For like 2 years after I left uni, I kind of faffed about with doing a bit of journalism stuff with it. And I probably applied to, I think, like 200-300 jobs.
Wow.
In those couple of years with it. I actually applied for the QA role down in the Lincoln studio first. Never heard back about that, but I heard back for the North one and then got the job up here.
That's interesting to hear from, not from the same company, but the same company, basically. What was like, you know, just working on these games and all that, and just seeing how many copies has GTA 5 sold now? Like 200 million. 2 and 3 people in the US own that game. Like, what's that feel like for you guys, like having worked on a project of that scale? Like, does it even register? I mean, I guess you don't have anything to compare it to because you haven't worked at other studios.
Yeah, but I mean, it's crazy when you like keep seeing that like still in the top 10 and stuff. Like, you start to wonder like who's actually not got a copy anymore. So yeah, it's a real privilege to work on like such massive entertainment products.
Yeah, I think it's still a bit mind-blowing for me, especially when you see like the top 10 charts, and I think GTA is normally right up there, 1 or 2, and then a couple down is Red Dead. It's like, oh, I've worked on both of those, and they're 2 of the best-selling games of all time. What?
Yeah.
How does like working at Rockstar affect like your future career prospects? Do you guys like, you know, I don't get to talk to Rockstar devs very often, so like, are you guys getting poached all the time? Are people like trying to recruit you? Or is Rockstar like really good about just keeping their talent to, you know, build that institutional knowledge to make these types of games?
I think
obviously they are, because you worked there for 18 years. But
yeah, I mean, I think there are quite a lot of people that have been there a while. I don't know really.
Well, like, what makes you want to work at Rockstar that long? Because, you know, from the outside looking in, and like, you know, the press, you know, obviously makes it sound like working on these projects is utterly grueling, processes, but I'm not getting that vibe. I'm sure it's tough, obviously.
Yeah, it's always a case of like the people make it worthwhile. Like like you make some good friendships, and then when you've been through it together, like there's that sort of support and like just some great teamwork, really.
Yeah, and for me, working on Red Dead as well, it's been such an amazing game, and that kind of like kept me going with it. And there's nothing quite as bonding as the 8 p.m. conversations you have when you're doing an overtime shift and the pizza's just shown up, and it's like the zoomies kind of kick in a little bit. Yeah. Nothing quite bonding like that.
So I guess getting into that part a little bit, obviously a few years ago there was reporting, I think, from Jason Schreier and all that on, crunch and overtime at Rockstar. And then I think he followed up with that report not, a couple years later and said like things had improved. From your guys' perspective, like how is Rockstar as a whole operating? Is it with GTA 6? I know you can't get into specifics on that game, obviously, but just in general, like the work-life balance did things improve after those reports, or are they kind of the same?
Yeah, I'd say they definitely did improve after that. Like my lead at the time sort of made very sure that we weren't like staying too late. He was coming around telling us to go home if we were still in, sort of thing. So yeah, it definitely improved. I know some people sort of will be putting in extra hours at the moment, but I personally wasn't really doing anything extra. I always had a perfectly manageable workload.
Yeah, I think again it's another one that differed per team. I know it definitely did get a lot better. I felt like I had a balance. I saw weekends and was able to do social things, didn't feel completely drained. But I know some people who are doing more hours now, kind of like they're choosing to do them. It's always the worry of, with a game, is it going to kind of like slip back that way, even accidentally? Especially with such a massive game and a massive company as well. Has that
happened at all with the, GTA 6 specifically has suffered a few delays now? Has that work culture kind of shifted back, or has it stayed pretty consistent?
I think it's been fairly consistent. Yeah. They're trying to like not sort of slip back to how things were. But I mean, it's one of the reasons that we were sort of trying to do what we were doing is like just to get all that sort of codified, like have some actual like something written down about what would be acceptable, what's not, and that kind of thing.
So you keep saying like you didn't want the company to slip back into that. Is that coming from you guys or more the leadership team, or both?
There's a bit of like peer pressure in a way. Like once people start doing a bit of overtime, like other people will see them doing overtime, and then you feel like, oh, maybe I'm not doing enough, and so it's like there's a sort of a snowball effect, maybe.
And Sarah, what's your experience with that? Have you? Remind me. You worked in QA.
Yes.
So, like, how were your hours and work-life balance? I know you said it's better now, but like, what if you can go into detail a little bit more about like what it was like before that, what you were doing?
Well, it's definitely changed, especially since I changed teams. At the moment, we don't do any overtime with the stuff that I'm working on, which is nice. Back when I worked in QA, it was a really tight part of the project. And there were points where I don't think I saw an evening or a weekend, really. Was
that mandated by leadership, or just people decided to stay overtime?
I think it was kind of both, a little bit. It was, especially if somebody sees like a more senior member of staff staying, that kind of mentality subconsciously trickles down with people. And you always have some, like in every company, I think, who's like, oh, I'm doing 20 odd hours this week, you're only doing 10. And then it becomes like a bit of a twisted competition a little bit with it. Like I knew a few people who were like that back then.
Were you at least like well compensated for the overtime? Because I guess I don't really know how it works in the UK. Like, in the US you get a time and a half, but in the UK, I'm not sure what the difference is.
Back in the day, like when I was working on GTA 4, we did get like we got paid overtime for that, and we got like quite a lot of overtime. So I, at the time, I felt like I was doing pretty well out of it. But I like at the same time I was doing some sort of crazy weeks. Like you would be up to 7 days a week sometimes. Yeah, like Sarah says, you didn't really see an evening or a weekend at all. Just sort of work, sleep, work. But it all felt worth it, when GTA 4 came out, and like I say, I made quite a lot of overtime out of it.
Yeah, that's kind of like, it seems like with game development, that's kind of like the really tight rope you follow, is like you're so passionate about these projects, and anything you work on creatively, it's like I want to work on it until it's done, kind of thing. And so even in the games media space, like as leadership, you have to be careful to not let people overwork themselves in that regard. But when it's coming from the management and shareholders and all that you got to get this game out by this date, I'm sure that changes things. But you guys worked overtime because you had to, but like Rockstar also makes so much money. Like why not just hire more people instead of having people work overtime? Or is that how things have changed?
Yeah, I mean, I'd say that I think that is one of the things that has changed. Like they do hire like a lot more these days than they used to, I think. So there is just generally less overtime, and more people in the studio. Like I'm trying to remember how many people there were in the studio when I started, but like in North now it's like well over 800, I think.
And so what were some of the things that like management did to just kind of improve that work-life balance on their own?
I mean, for a time we had like hybrid working, or like full work from home, like during COVID. So that for me that was brilliant, because that's when I had my first child, or my only child, and it was really obvious to me like how much I would have been missing if I was commuting into work, like because my commute's like an hour each way. So like when we sort of started getting the return to office stuff, that's what got me involved in the union, really, is wanting to keep some flexibility there, because I started sort of going in the morning, and like my daughter would be like not up when I've left, and I'm coming home and she's already like either just out of the bath or already in bed, and just felt like I wasn't seeing her anymore, even though I was like doing regular hours. So yeah, that's what sort of galvanized me.
Yeah, even like the ability to, you're working, but you could put the washing on while you were working. You could cook and meal prep, and just things like that you forget that you can't do if you're working a full 9 to 5 plus travel time as well with it. For a while I was able to use my weekends for actual weekend things. Like I used to go to the cinema pretty much every single weekend, just because I had time to do things like that.
Yeah. It's funny. I worked from home my entire career, and I forget to do those things. So there's a balance to be had no matter what you're doing. Sometimes I wish I had to go to the office. I was like, you know what? I would probably prioritize my time better if I had to actually drive around and leave my office and not just roll out of bed into my office. All right. So on the union front, kind of run me through that process of what it's like in the UK. You're both in the UK, correct?
Yeah.
Okay, so run me through that process, because I'm not super up to date with how unions work in Europe compared to the US. The second part of that question is, so Rockstar technically is based out of the US because they're owned by parent company Take-Two. So, like, what rules are applied to you guys based on where you are because of how the company is operating?
So it would still be under UK law because our office is in the UK,
right,
basically.
Okay.
And like we were unionizing under the Independent Workers Great Britain, IWG Game Workers branch. Like I got involved back in 2022, I think it was, and basically they're like a grassroots member-led kind of organization. It's all very like hands-on when you join up. I sort of immediately got a call from one of the organizers, like asking what I thought I could do to help. and like, yeah, we basically we do everything ourselves really with their assistance.
And what does that mean? What do you guys do?
A lot of recruitment, just talking to people, explaining the benefits of being in a union. Like we've done sort of petitions, we've done like flyers, and then sort of holding member meetings to see what people's issues are, what they what they would like to see us doing, like any sort of any actions they'd like us to take.
So let's assume that listeners don't know like what a union does for you in the games industry, and because there's obviously a lot of back and forth on, do people want to be in unions, do people not want to be in unions? So explain, like, if you both can kind of tell me, like, what does the union provide to you as protection, and how much pushback is there from companies that want, when do they hear you want to join a union?
Yeah, so basically unions are, for starters, the IWDB, they've been helping us to support how to actually organize with a capital O rather than just, you're an organized person, it's how to organize and plan things. So they've been helping us to put together the actual structure of the Rockstar branch of the union. And they're helping us with how to plan things like campaigns, how to engage each other in member-led discussions. Unions also give you some legal protections as well, and they can act as an advocate to give you a seat basically in the discussion. So they can advocate for you if you don't necessarily feel comfortable or like you're not able to bring something to management because you think maybe it's just something that one person's complaining about, for example. But actually, it turns out 300 people are complaining about it, or people are not happy with it, or they'd like a change, or they'd like to have a conversation. And a union gives you that support system and that structure to help with those kind of discussions, basically. It's also solidarity and a way to connect with your colleagues and discuss things like workplace conditions, or basically things that you may want to work collectively towards to try and make a little bit better.
Yeah, it's just about making a good workplace better, really, isn't it? And trying to solidify some of the, like, we have sort of non-contractual benefits that, like, you might have had them for a long time, but they could be taken away at any moment because they're not in your contract. So it's sort of trying to work with management to get things like that actually written into the contract.
And so in those contracts at Rockstar, you guys didn't really have those types of protections?
So some things are in the contract, and then other things are just things that they've added, like it might be things like you're getting like a free lunch, that kind of thing. It's not in our contract, but it's something that kind of becomes standard.
You said earlier that like the previous crunch that you guys had and overtime that you guys had suffered through was part of the reason you really started to push towards going towards a union.
Yeah, like I said, I did some crazy weeks, and like I would like to not to do those again, really. And
Yeah.
like it's
Right.
you see a lot of people that do get burned out by these things, and like it's about trying to like protect each other as well. Not letting people overwork themselves and burn out, and then you lose good devs because they've just had enough.
I guess I don't know if you can say, but how many like developers at Rockstar are trying to unionize?
We've got over 200 in our union now, and we're getting more sort of daily at the moment, actually.
Okay, so people after you guys were fired, more people are starting to join in. And what is that? I don't know how much you can go into on that, but like, what is the atmosphere at Rockstar around your guys' firing? And obviously not great because people are coming towards the union, which I'm assuming leadership doesn't want.
Yeah, I mean it doesn't feel good, because we've got sort of people that we saw every day that are now like they don't really want to be seen associating with us, so it's really quite like isolating. And like, I mean, a few of us have sort of said before, like we couldn't have been fired with a better bunch, because we've now all got each other's backs. Like we've got a really sort of solid community among ourselves now. But yeah, and it is like, it's a shame seeing people that you've like seen every day for a decade or more, that just sort of avert their eyes when they leave the building and you're sort of standing outside demonstrating.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of worry as well, and fear, because so many people were just let go, fired so suddenly. I think people are worried, like, is this it? Is there going to be more? And that's definitely had an impact on people being willing to talk to us, to look at us. I've had people that I've known for years just leaving me on read at the moment, which absolutely no hate to them. It's a horrible situation to be in, either side. It's just, yeah, like Jamie says, it's really isolating. I think if I didn't have the other 33 that were fired, I would be much more of a mess than I am. And considering I've cried every day, it's already a bit of a mess.
Yeah. So let's assume people listening to this haven't heard why you guys were fired. Obviously you said, I know the specifics that you can't go into, but kind of give me the timeline of events leading up to your firing.
So we'd sort of just hit 10% membership of like the UK workforce, which is in the UK is a huge milestone for a union, because that's the point where you can apply for statutory recognition. And we were all sort of excited about that, and then suddenly we found ourselves being called for a quick chat with HR, and then 5 minutes later we're out of the building.
So even though you worked like for 18 years there, Jamie, you were just thrown out like that, like nothing.
Yeah, it was literally just like about a 5-minute meeting, and then escorted out of the building.
Yeah, some of us got phone calls if we weren't in.
You didn't even have a meeting.
So, yeah.
Wow. That's wild. Like 18 years. Yeah, I mean, you're right. That sounds like extremely inhumane. I mean, 18 years of working at that company.
And there are people that are obviously on work visas as well. They've come from all over the world to work for Rockstar, and now they're
were any of them part of the firing?
Yes, yeah. So now they're facing possibly having to leave the country. We've got like one of the guys has got so he's got his pets that he brought over. The one of which is like quite old now, so he's worried about if he has to leave the country, what's going to happen there. There's so many sort of human aspects to it that just don't think they've really been considered. How much this really messes with people's lives.
So the public reporting on it is that there was a Discord group that you guys were in, and apparently somebody sent those messages off to management, and that's what led to them finding that Discord and getting removed. Did they not know about the Discord beforehand? Are these union talks like public within the company?
So we don't really know much more than the public does at the moment, because we've not been presented any evidence. So what we can say is that the Discord was a private server. We verified everyone that came into it. And yeah, it was IWGB staff and employees that were in it, talking about workplace issues.
Yeah, so people make games that did a video showing some of those messages and all that. It doesn't seem like there was anything in there that accounted towards company secrets or anything like that, unless they consider work culture company secret.
Yeah, I mean, it's like that was sort of just a typical kind of chat, really. Like there's a workplace issue, people want to talk about it, like not at work.
Yeah, every company does that. Every company has a side, back channel chats.
Yeah, so yeah, that's kind of typical of what we'd be talking about. Just things that affect your day-to-day life in the office, that might be relevant to things that we can try and do some sort of union action around.
And so you both believe that the firing came because of reaching that 10% as a whole, and like that this was actually becoming a serious thing and not just a workplace back channel.
I think it's kind of difficult to get the reason exactly why, because we don't live in their minds, and like Jamie said, we've not really had any evidence presented to us. The timing of it seems like it would line up, but again, it's difficult to say without anybody giving any evidence or proof or rhyme or reason with it. Otherwise, we're just speculating into... I mean, I've been doom spiraling with speculating, so...
As somebody that was also fired and knew that my firing was coming, yes, I know that feeling very well. Although mine wasn't so much speculation, more prediction. So... I've told my story of being fired very often, but like I outlasted a bunch of managers at the Escapist while I was running that, and I would tell my team like this guy's gone in like 2 weeks. Just watch, and I was right like 3 out of 4 times. And then I told my parents, like, I've been right about this every time. When I know that I'm gonna get fired, and I tell you I'm gonna get fired, I'm getting fired, and that's exactly what happened. So. I don't think, without throwing anybody under the bus at Rockstar, I don't think corporate hides their intentions very well a lot of times with these types of things. So as far as unionizing and all that, like, can you say like how many, like how quickly is membership growing because of what happened with you guys across not just Rockstar, but I guess the UK in general, because Rockstar's biggest studio there, like that had to raise some feathers for a lot of people.
Yeah, I mean, we always kind of had it in our minds that like if we could unionize Rockstar, that would be huge just for the industry as a whole, and that was like one of the reasons that we were sort of doing it, is because we don't just want to unionize Rockstar, we want everyone in the games industry to be in a union. Membership kind of, it's funny, it spikes with management decisions sometimes. You'll have a lull, and then there'll be something happens, and then you get a huge spike in membership. But like recently, it's been pretty steady, sort of I've heard that a lot of I've been in sort of a lot of chats and things where people are saying that they have joined unions because they've seen what's going on with us. So that's kind of good to hear.
Yeah. Fortunately, this sometimes has to be a catalyst to get people really off their asses.
It's like morbidly heartwarming.
Yeah.
Horrible that it took this to do it, but also, yes.
Yeah, I mean, that's how the games media industry feels. Like, we watch all of our colleagues get fired. It's like, well, time to go independent. And everybody else is like, yep, no, that's probably the right move. So there's some mixed reporting on what exactly you guys want out of this. A lot of it seems like your colleagues want you immediately reinstated. I'm a bit curious about that because you could be reinstated, but is there going to be, I guess speculating, but I mean, I guess you wouldn't be on great terms with management after everything that went down.
Yeah, I mean, we do want our jobs back, basically. We love what we do. We were working on the biggest entertainment product of all time, possibly. We want to finish what we started. There's people who've been working on that for a long time. Our immediate goal is that we do want to be reinstated.
I think part of it is also, I would say the recognition of the union would be great as well. And just as a side effect of everything, just fixing the mood around the studio. Because it's not particularly great. There's a lot of fear and worry at the moment. And I don't think anyone should have to go into work and feel worried for whether they might lose their job soon or not. Maybe it's a little bit optimistic of me.
Was that a feeling before you guys were fired, or are you talking specifically after?
I don't think it was specifically before. I definitely know people are feeling it afterwards.
Yeah. And not, you say that, what does that mean specifically? Like, obviously, you guys had your Discord with union efforts. But why would other people be so worried about losing their jobs if they're not involved in those union discussions?
I think one of the things is that there were a lot more people in our Discord than were fired. So I think that's part of the fear there. They're
Gotcha.
wondering if they could be next.
So why did they? So there's a lot more people in the Discord from Rockstar, you're saying. So why was it only U34?
That's the burning question.
Let me guess. That's a good question. Yeah. So like out of the 34 that were fired, like what is the significance of U34 specifically?
Yeah, we'd love to work that out as well.
Yeah.
So
when they fired you, like, what did they say it was for?
So they've said that we were our behaviour amounted to gross misconduct, basically.
And they didn't point to any terms in the contract that you broke as far as misconduct, or what does misconduct mean in this scenario?
There are some terms that they pointed to, but I don't know if we're allowed to go into that.
Okay. I find it interesting, at such a large company, obviously you guys were having union discussions in this Discord, but do people not feel comfortable at Rockstar with going to HR and kind of giving them complaints that they might have, or things not getting acted on as they should be?
I mean, I think it depends on the person. Some people are obviously more comfortable than others.
Sure. Yeah.
I've had perfectly reasonable interactions with HR in the past, about concerns that I've had. There have been other things that have sort of not specifically union actions, but collective actions that happened that did they came about through talking to HR and improved things in the studio. So yeah, I mean you can definitely talk to them.
Sarah, how do you feel about that as a woman specifically in the games industry? I'm sure it's a little different.
I know people who've had very mixed experiences and very mixed comfort levels as well. To me personally, talking to HR feels like an escalation sometimes. And that's been one of the great bits about a union, because they can act as an advocate and help you speak up for yourself, but also somebody else that might be having the same problem with it. That's kind of one of the reasons I joined, because I just in general struggle to stand up for myself sometimes, and I will give people advice, but then not take it myself. I'm that kind of person. But the union kind of helps act as an advocate and a champion for people like that who might need one.
It's also a great place to ask if you if your issue is a real one, kind of thing. Am I being unreasonable here? Is it so yeah, it's good to sort of bounce ideas off each other and stuff.
With the union not being formally recognized at Rockstar, though, what was it providing benefits yet, or is that where you guys were trying to get to?
Yeah, that's kind of where we were trying to get to. We've done sort of various actions, like I said, we've handed in petitions and things. But yeah, the real sort of stuff happens once you're recognised, and you can actually sort of sit down with management and get around the table when the decisions are being made.
The studio in general, how big is the movement backing you guys and trying to get you reinstated? And are there, obviously I wouldn't ask for specifics on any plans or anything that you guys are talking about with people, but is there momentum to push Rockstar to change this, or do you think that you're kind of hitting a wall?
No, I mean we are seeing a lot of support. I know, I sort of talked about how it's quite isolating and people sort of avert their eyes, but we are also seeing a lot of support. We've been going out in front of the studios and sort of holding up our banners and things, and our colleagues are coming out and talking to us. There are people that are really behind us, which is lovely.
And is it more rank and file devs or senior leadership?
There's a mix. Yeah, there's all levels.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, because it seems like for Rockstar, at least leadership and Take-Two to really pay attention, you guys really need senior leadership on your side to really push this. People that are kind of not expendable on these games.
Yeah. I mean, we sort of worked out amongst ourselves that in a day, Rockstar lost over 200 years of experience. like among us, and people who are like quite integral to their roles. So I think a lot of people in the studio will be feeling our loss in many ways, like picking up what we left unfinished.
And did the firing come from like your studio management or Take-Two?
I mean, we don't really know where the decision was made, but we were like called into meetings with our studio's HR.
But your studio management hasn't said anything to you or anything about any of this?
We've heard very, very little at all from Rockstar.
So I guess, like, what are you hoping to see come out of all this? What kind of support do you guys need? What are you looking for from the larger gaming community to recognize this as what it is?
Join their own unions. That's a good thing. If you're in the UK and there's a branch of the IWGB, they've been absolutely fantastic, even before all this. I think this is kind of a pivotal moment in gaming, and depending how this goes, could set a precedent for gaming in the UK with it. Rockstar is such a big name. I think if you say Rockstar, everyone knows it's one of two things. It's the energy drink or it's the games. And sometimes people confuse the two around. So depending what happens with this, if they recognize the union, for example, that would be amazing. And so many companies could look to that and see this good relationship you can build up with your workers. And I guess a fairy tale dream would be that it would make the gaming industry in the UK better. Workers would be happier, it would be fairer, and we'd still continue to put out the amazing games that we've been doing for years at this point.
Yeah, I mean, in many ways, like Rockstar sort of leads the industry, and it would be great to see them also lead the industry in having a unionized workforce.
Aside from the obvious of money, have they given you any reason why they wouldn't support a union?
Not really, no. We hadn't got around to approaching them because we were sort of aiming for that 10%.
To clarify, 10% of the UK industry as a whole, not just Rockstar.
The Rockstar UK workforce.
Oh, just the Rockstar UK workforce. Okay, interesting. So that's when you can take it to the government and formalize it, and then bring it to the table.
I mean, there are sort of more steps in there as well, but that's the starting point, really.
So are you at that 10%? I'm assuming you're past that 10% now, with you saying people joining up every day.
Yeah, we are still past the 10%. Yeah.
Okay, so what is the plan there then? If you can't say, or you're not allowed to say? Like, are the people that are still employed at Rockstar going to use this to take it to management to say, hey, this is what we want our people back, we want the union? What happens when they get fired?
Yeah, I mean, I guess that's kind of for the current employees to take forward in a way. We have our own battle to fight at the moment.
Yeah, I mean, it's very much a David takes on Goliath situation for you guys. I don't envy the position you're in. You know, trying to take on Rockstar with all their money and resources and everything.
It's definitely not how I wanted to leave a mark on gaming. I'm just gonna say.
Well, you've got credits in some of the biggest games in the world, like, you know, career-wise. I think you guys are, you know, have a bright future ahead of you, of course. Either way, aside from, you know, losing the job, and obviously that hurts. How are you guys feeling in general?
A little bit lost, to be honest. It's like I'm still not sure what the path ahead looks like, really. Still sort of coming to terms with it all.
Yeah, I think it's definitely a grieving process. For some of us, like, I moved up here just for this job, so my whole life is here. My friends, most of them I met through the company. It's touched on so many aspects of my life that now it feels like it's been a hole that's ripped out, and I'm still grieving that at the moment. So it alternates between, oh my god, I'm really happy, and the next day it's just tears with it at the moment.
Yeah. when I felt the very same thing when I knew I was going to get fired from The Escapist. Because like all I've done my entire career is games media, and so having that ripped away from people that aren't connected to you directly sucks. So I completely empathize with that. For anybody listening, like there's just a lot of details we can't get into too specifically because it's an ongoing legal case now. What is the movement on that, if you can say, like where have any discussions happened with Rockstar yet?
We like the IWGB's legal team has put in like a couple of claims, and yeah, we're just kind of waiting now.
In the US, our legal system is notoriously slow. How much faster is it in the UK? And like, aside, like it's putting aside the union protections, like what are the UK worker protections that would help elevate this?
I mean the procedure by which we were dismissed, we believe was unfair. So there's that aspect to it. Then there's also like, because we believe that it's probably connected to our union activity, there's like that's another set of protections. So UK law does have some quite robust protection for employment law.
Are you guys relatively confident you're going to win in that? It's Rockstar. Yeah, I know.
Yeah, it's very daunting, but I mean, we believe the whole thing's been very unfair, and yeah, we don't think we've done anything wrong at all.
And obviously, that whole Discord is going to be open up to discoverability and everything. You're not worried about anything in there.
I mean, like we said, like there was nothing. We haven't been leaking project stuff. If we had, it would be out there because the fan base is like notorious for getting any bit of information they can. So yeah, it was just mundane workplace discussions, really.
Pretty much everything that I saw discussed were things that were protected under union protections. It's been a bit insane trying to figure out the why, the who, the what with it. Because I can't think of anything that was in there that would justify this kind of reaction. In my opinion, it felt a little inhumane.
Yeah, definitely.
All right. Well, yeah, I don't really have too many more questions about this. Obviously, I'm wishing the best for you guys, and hope this goes the way it should. Because yeah, the industry needs to change in whatever way that makes the most sense for the employees. Because I mean, every week is layoffs, and obviously a union busting effort is not a good look for any company to do. Especially one as big as Rockstar. What if you had a message that you wanted to get to management or leadership? Like, what would you tell them? Aside from, I want my job back.
I mean, you just work with us, really, and work with the union that is still there.
All we're trying to do is make it a good, fair place for everyone that wants to work with her. We spend so much time working with them and them with us, and we just want to continue making great games in a place that's fair and we love working in.
All right. Well, I want to end this on a little bit of a lighter note. You guys have a little bit of free time right now, so are you catching up on games that you haven't had time to play, or are you watching any TV shows, movies, just kind of relaxing at least a little bit?
Yeah, I mean, I've been working through my back catalogue of games that's been building up. Yeah, just spending time with my daughter and catching up on games mostly. Yeah, and obviously
anything specifically you're enjoying.
I've actually been really enjoying Power Wash Simulator 2. I absolutely love it.
That's a good game to shut off your brain for a little bit.
It scratches an itch I didn't know I had with it,
Yahtzee says the exact same thing. Like he's very much into the dad game era, and he came in one day and he's like, "Yeah, I've put like 12 hours into Power Wash." And I'm like, "You what, Mr. Artsy Fartsy over here, just spraying water and shit?"
I've been slightly hyperfixated on Phasmophobia.
Okay, that's a good one.
I've been watching a lot of streamers and how they play it to try and get better at it, so I can pretend that I know what I'm doing when I play it with my friends now.
Mm-hmm.
And also House Flipper 2.
Yep, that's a good one.
Surprisingly therapeutic building my dream house.
Yeah, there was another game that just came out recently that's kind of like House Flipper, but it's just destruction. I think it's just literally called Destruction Simulator.
Yes, that's on my wish list.
Yeah, that seems like a good game for you to play right about now. Maybe you can't go to one of those actual rooms where you just break shit.
I'd love to do that.
That might be a good one.
They might be getting one, actually. I've been looking at it.
Oh boy. Yeah, we all need that from time to time. And any big plans for you guys to kind of end out the year? Or is this union thing kind of your main focus right now? Getting this
it's a bit
out?
all encompassing at the moment, really. Probably going to try and get away and see some family over the holiday period. But yeah, no big plans really.
Yeah, probably a nice quiet Christmas. That'd be good.
Yeah. Yep, I wish I had done more of that when I was working in corporate. It's all stressful. At least we have a nice work-life balance now. But, you guys can always do what we did. Just go start your own independent Rockstar. It's just easy enough to do, right?
It'd be interesting for sure. I'm sure we've got a lot of ideas between us.
Yeah. Oh, I bet. Yeah, I would be very afraid to be in a room with a lot of Rockstar developers with the amount of knowledge going on in there. I feel very small. All right. Well, Jamie, Sarah, thanks so much for coming on to talk with me about this. Thanks for trusting me with talking with you guys about this. Is there anything else you want to cover before we end this podcast?
No, I mean, I guess if we can plug our Solidarity Fund, I can send you across the link for that.
I'm not sure if you guys are on social media, but where should people follow to continue getting updates on your?
If you follow the IWGB, they put out a lot of statements, and they're covering sort of the protests and things. I think there's and
are they still on Twitter? Or is it just are they Blue Sky
I think
now?
they're on both.
Okay.
And Instagram and TikTok as well.
Ooh, okay.
And I think we've got like a link tree as well that's got some sort of resources and things on it. But like I said, I can send that across.
All right. Well, thank you guys so much for joining for this. Yeah, you guys will be the very first episode of Beyond the Pixels. So
thank you for having us.
Yeah, 100%. And I really do wish you guys the best of luck with this. I just talking to you guys about it makes me feel stressed a little bit. So I can only imagine how you guys are feeling.
Hey, if I share the stress, maybe I'll feel less of it.
That's true. Good reason to play Phasmophobia.
Yes.